Sean, you said you had something?
I did have something.
You said it was a secret?
Yeah, it was a secret.
So it's not really a secret, but I just didn't want to talk about it.
I know, I was joking because you said you wouldn't tell us.
Well,
yet.
I wasn't sure. You know, got to make sure you're joking.
It was a joke.
Well, so there's a guy named Spine Dev. In 2019, he had released a Linux flat pack for a PS4 emulator that could play some 2D games.
PS4?
Yeah. And so he's been quietly working on it since 2019, and it still is in its infancy, but he's tested over 1,000 games. 45% of the games will only get to the intro screen. 35% of them will properly get you into the game, and a lot of games that have 3D rendering still have some graphical issues. But he's one guy working on this. PlayStation 4 supposedly is pretty complex to emulate because it does not use Vulkan or OpenGL for its graphics library. It uses their own custom, I don't know.
How much power do you have to run an emulator like that?
Well, I mean, every PC with a graphics card is 10 times better than a console, most of the time.
I mean, for new computers,
yeah,
at least.
Yeah. So PS4 is not. It's not super resource intensive considering how far PCs have come.
Yeah, but
it's just building the emulator to work around some of the, like your computer. Its graphics card has VRAM, which is video RAM, and it's there to cache items for 3D objects, right? For whatever reason, PlayStation 4 has two separate VRAM caches.
Mm-hmm.
A one called, for some weird reason, they were nicknamed Garlic and Onion. Those are the two caches. So that's a little bit harder to work around on if you're trying to emulate on PC. Also, like I said, the fact that OpenGL and Vulkan are both not present in the PlayStation 4, which is what most emulators either use one or two. He's using OpenGL for rendering graphics, but he's having to basically convert whatever Sony's graphics library is over to OpenGL in the emulator.
Classic Sony.
This sounds like a cease and desist waiting to happen.
Well, I mean,
emulation is...
It's not illegal.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not?
You just got to emulate games you own.
You can't sell it.
No.
I mean, yeah, you don't...
So there is a version up available. It is Linux only right now. This was released 13 days ago. The newest version that he's put out. Apparently it's a huge step in the direction of PS4 emulation. So
it sounds like it would
Thumbnail.
be a huge step.
PS4 emulator?
I mean, that's pretty cool. It seems like
MVG.
still kind of early, which is why it's crazy he's doing that, because, you know, it's PS4 is essentially dying, but it's not like they're not still putting out new games for it, so it's kind of nuts to see that.
I mean, there's a lot of 2D games on there, right? Indie titles, and I mean, that's what he was saying that worked the best.
Yeah.
Now, to get games on it is a whole nother convoluted ass situation because of how Sony does their... You need to have a BIOS, and then you need to have the .bin files and all this shit. So I heard about this through MVG.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No.
No, why don't we just...
He's like, I worked on the console.
Why don't we just like play his video next time you want to tell us about something
replace the whole podcast with videos of modern...
I'm just saying, Sean's going to be like, I want to talk to you guys about this. I watched this video. Let's watch it.
Did you hear what I said?
Yes, I did.
I said MVG.
I know, I heard you. He's a fucking smart guy.
No, he is.
Yeah,
and
no, it's just funny.
The thing is, I'm giving you shit on the frequency, not on the fact... Like, his videos are incredible. It's the fact that every third Debuff episode, there is a mention of modern vintage gamer.
Check out his video. It's really good. If you made it this far in the video, go check his out, but only after you finish the whole episode.
Yeah.
But anyway... I mean, it's on XDA Developers, which is where I started reading about it some more. Tom's Hardware posted another thing about it as well. But apparently to get games for it, MVG was taking his hacked PS4 and using FTP to copy the files from his PS4 to his computer.
That's a pain in the ass.
So Yeah, right now it's still super early stages. I don't know that I'd recommend go out and download this if you have a Linux machine with a graphics card. But I just think it's really cool that one guy's built this. Right now it is Linux only. I'm sure if there's a community large enough, people will try and port it to other operating systems.
Yeah.
And the fact that, you know, a 35% of games will let you in and play, whether or not there's some sort of graphical issue, is a different story.
It's a lot of games.
Yeah, I mean, there's a shit ton of fucking PS4 games. So,
dude, emulation really breaks my brain. I don't know how it works.
One step
you
closer
should
to,
watch more Modern Vintage Gamer.
Yeah,
to
probably
Bloodborne
should.
on PC
The
because they'll
console.
never port it. Yeah, I mean, it's weird because the way I always picture it is like there's running on the native machine, and then people emulating are like, hey, the same parts exist, but let's have to like build this pretend version of a PlayStation on top of it.
Yeah.
I know that's like not how exactly it works, right? But that's just how I picture in my mind. So it's always going to be like a little bit more resource intensive than the playing it on the native hardware. But like Sean said,
Well, yeah, I mean,
any computer now that you buy is, I mean, when consoles come out, they're already outdated. They're just, that's why they're cheaper than buying a nice gaming PC normally.
the crazy thing to me about emulation is that you are like with like NES or Game Boy or whatever, you're literally having to build an emulator that, in any emulator in general, that mimics the hardware through software.
Yeah, and that
So
is what
the
blows my
processor-
fucking mind.
You for the NES in an emulator is software.
Yeah.
The RAM is all software. Not there's no hard. I mean, that's really it's just it's weird to think about. But you're right. It is hard to wrap your head around. But I mean, that's really the easiest way to put it. Is that it's just pretending that all of the hardware is now software.
Yeah. No, I get that. I just
Well, yeah. I mean,
like
that's
if
why
some
someone,
people
if someone
do
said,
it-
"Hey, make an NES emulator," I'd be like, I don't know where to start.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know either.
I don't know who to talk to. You can't pay me
Where's the
enough money.
tutorial?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch a YouTube.
He's like, how to make NES emulator.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
I definitely, sorry. Wait.
no, I was just gonna say like people who were building NES and these old emulators were like didn't know what the fuck to do, right? Like they're
I know, and that's what's
because Nintendo doesn't tell you how their CPU works. They had to figure that all out. So
that type of crazy shit reminds me of something else. But I want you to say your point, and then we can go on that tangent.
What I was just gonna say, I remember many years ago, figuring out how to like hack my PSP. I say that knowing all I did was run somebody else's package after they hacked it, right? But
Just jailbreak it.
yeah, I mean, but it was really cool. But some of the stuff you had to do to tweak it and do certain things or whatever. But when I had to go and figure out how to get my PSP to emulate PlayStation 1 games, that was a nightmare because it was like there was a built-in emulator into the PSP so that they could give you like PlayStation 1 games on their shop, but we didn't have access to it. So, you know, the hacksaws would go out there and figure out how it worked and then try to open it up to work for every game. But there was like all these different versions that you would have to pick that were compatibility based that would, oh, is this version going to work best for Final Fantasy VII or whatever? And it was fucking terrible. Me being like 11 years old, like trying to read online, what am I doing? And I'm just every single time sitting there like, who's coming up with this? Who's doing this for fun, like for free?
Dude.
I mean, it's, you know, people learn that way and it's got to be like really cool when you're sitting there messing around and you get a PlayStation 1 game running on the PSP. That's neat.
I have to assume it's computer science majors or engineers
yeah, I
that
mean,
are also like
just
kinda
big
gamer
nerds.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like somebody with a computer science degree that also really fucking loves Nintendo.
Yeah.
You know, I have
mean,
to assume that's what
People
it
get
is.
joy out of like owning their hardware, you know, like
Yeah.
figuring out how it works and doing stuff to it. And that's cool.
Trying to understand that made me think of like wrapping my head around the original forms of like analog sound recording and how it used to be done on wax. And it's like, how does this work? Like, how is this able to be replayed? Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, bro, I still like don't
that-
understand how like vinyls work. Even I know how it works, but I also don't know how it works.
So
It's just so weird.
So the crazy thing about vinyls, and I'm going to tell you as much as I think I know. It's not that much, but on those tiny little lines of a vinyl player are waveforms.
Yeah.
That's essentially what it is.
Yeah.
And if you run the vinyl, I don't know if you've ever done this without the speakers on, and you put your ear up to it, you can hear just the faint version of the
Yeah, I've
music.
never done that, but
It's super weird. But like when I think about that, where like the original recordings, like I think it was like an Edison machine where there were these essentially like soft wax candles that would like the sound would be so like the needle was so like what's the word I'm looking for? Like easy to move, like fragile, that it would make a waveform. And if any of the low notes were too loud, it would fuck up the whole recording because they're such wide waveforms. Like, who was like, okay, I can translate that into ones and zeros.
yeah, I mean that kind of stuff.
And now it's digital.
I don't.
Like, what? How? Like, I'm not smart enough. That's what it is.
Well, it's that's why we don't make shit for computers like that. Because I get it in theory, but I don't know who sat down and decided to do that, which is your point.
This is analog until it gets to that box, and it turns into digital ones and zeros. And there's like barely any latency. Like that shit just kind of blows my mind.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, how did computers even work? You know what I mean?
Is it technically?
It's audio
analog?
to yeah. It's. I mean this is an audio signal that has power. This is a powered audio signal that goes to the box, and that box turns it into something that's readable from the printer cable that goes into
Fucking printer cable.
USB
B
to USB A.
Yep.
So whatever's happening in there is
USB B
is an analog to digital conversion. So
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, unless there's a fucking wax candle over there, I don't know about. There's this little wax candle on the inside.
Analog to digital conversion samples the analog signal on each falling and rising edge of the sample clock. In each cycle, the ADC, analog digital converter, gets the analog signal, measures it, and converts it into a digital value. The ADC converts the output data into a series of digital values approximates the signel with fixed precision. I'm not very good at reading, guys.
So
we should just record without the pop filters on. Have you seen these without the pop filter?
No.
They look so weird. You can just.
Yeah, that is weird. All I'm gonna.
Hey.
Can you pop in there real quick?
Dude, that was foam you were tapping on?
No, it's metal.
It's little plastic.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck?
They're such ugly microphones underneath.
They're nice with the pop on. So,
Pop protector.
Sean, all I'm going to say is that I understand in theory what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean,
I just feel
this
like
was all gibberish to me.
right.
I just wanted to give for the viewers who are way smarter than us.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, dude, how do you not know what an emulator is?
Look, it's
and how it works.
It's understand in theory, like you said, waveforms converted, blah blah. What it comes down to, big nerd quote that everything is numbers, everything's math. I mean, the waveform, all that can be converted into math.
Yeah, well, isn't that just fucking convenient because you're so good at math?
I'm just saying. God damn it! I'm just mean all that can be like oddly enough converted into some kind of weird calculation or whatever.
Yeah, you're right.
That goes into a computer, and then they deal with that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know who figured out how the fuck to do that.
Yeah,
is the thing. So it's wild.
The other crazy thing, just to loop back to the Spine Dev
console.
Yeah, there is no GUI right now, so no interface for the application. So you have to launch it through command prompt. But how big do you think the emulator is right now?
You have to launch it through machine code.
Like command prompt is like not
to do
machine language.
I know,
it's really the terminal.
It's so funny to say that though.
Machine code.
That's even okay.
I said command prompt. It's terminal on Linux.
I don't know. It's got to be at least what 100 gigs, 300 gigs.
Gigs.
Right. I mean,
you were making it sound like it was going to be huge.
I thought it was going to be huge.
I was going to say like a gig because that's the biggest.
It's 47 megabytes.
Oh wow!
What?
I mean,
that
all
crazy?
it is like script lines. It's not actually doing.
Bro, it's 47 gigabytes. It's gigabytes.
You just made it sound like it was going to be big. When
Yeah,
you
I thought it was
asked me.
gonna be-
'Cause all
I was pretty
emulators are
surprised when
small.
I saw how small it was.
I mean, what's the biggest emulator you've ever downloaded?
I mean, Dolphin's like about a gig, I think.
That's why I was going with the gig because I was just like, is it huge? I don't.
Dude, bruh.mp3.
But Dolphin also has a shit ton of plugins and stuff. It's not new, and it can also do Wii.
Yeah.
So
You're true about that.